Hey guys, welcome back. If you saw my previous video, then you saw that I eliminated the interior wiring harness that connected to the ABS module. It was right there behind that plastic piece inside the car, and then the wiring harness ran along underneath the door or underneath the carpet and then into the computer or the ECU area along the firewall. So I have completely eliminated that. And now the next step of my ABS removal is I'm going to remove the actual ABS sensors. Here's the passenger side one on the front. This is the part that goes to the actual wheel. And then I actually just cut the wire, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But first I want to show you, check this out. I am also replacing the brake lines as I'm doing this. Of course I have the ABS Valtex Racing Delete Kit, but I'm also going to do the lines that go from, well, let me show you. So the brake lines that start right here, I'm going to be replacing these old rubber lines. These are the original ones. They have 1994, it says 4 of 94. You can see it stamped right there. So these are the original brake lines. I'm going to go ahead and replace that. As I said, it starts right here and goes down with these. These are Goodrich high performance brake lines, stainless steel braided, pretty good brand. They look to be high quality, have some fittings, have some new banjo bolts, some washers in there. So I'm probably going to do a different video of installing those. But for now, I think I want to show you how to delete the ABS sensors. By the way, I also have drained all of the brake fluid out of the master cylinder, and I will be taking off these original brake lines before I take out the actual module, which is right here. This is the actual ABS module. Here's a little box to it right there, and then of course all the brake lines. This is going to be basically step 3 or stage 3 of taking all this out, but I want to get all the wiring and little stuff done before I tackle that. So, as I was saying, I took out the ABS. You can see this ABS sensor right there. It's got two 10 millimeters, and then it snakes up this knuckle. There's another 10 millimeter bolt there, another one up there, and then it goes to this right here. You can see there are two 10 millimeters, and then it goes into the firewall. You can actually see, let me show you. So you can see the snakes around, and you can see it going in right here. See how it goes through here? And then there's this plug. And what I did is I snapped, or I clipped off where it comes into the into the engine bay. So on the passenger side, I went ahead and clipped the ABS wiring that went into the main harness, because I didn't want to delete this plug right here, because then there would be a hole going, from the wheel well into the engine bay, and I didn't want that. So if I clip the wire like I did here, then that enables me to, keep that plug there to minimize the amount of debris or water or whatever that will go into the engine bay. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take off this other ABS sensor, and we'll lose a little bit of weight and get a little bit of clutter out from these wheel wells, and then I'll give you guys a quick rundown of how the rear ones are connected and look. All right guys, so you see this plug right here. Let me show you. I pulled this wire out of it. This part right here was inside the engine bay, and then I just clipped these two wires. I'll put some electrical tape over the original wiring harness, but this is what I clipped, and this end right here was connected to this, and then this is the actual ABS sensor that wrapped around the knuckle, and then this part went to the hub. So I deleted all of that, cut this out, and kept the plug. This one's from the other side of the front. So now let's move on to the rear. All right guys, here is all the hardware that I took out from the rear ABS sensor. I did have to cut it in half. These two were connected, and the reason why I had to cut it in half is because part of this goes in between where the shock or the strut connects to the lower control arm, and because of these brackets, I'm not able to, feed that through, so I just cut the line just to make it easier on myself. But I did want to point out, it's the same basic concept as the front, so just undoing a bunch of hardware. I do think there are a few more bolts holding in the rear one than the front one, but anyways, I did want to mention that this metal cover right here is housing the actual sensor on the rear. So if you can't find your ABS sensor, then you have to undo this first. This is held in by two 10mm. So once you remove this, you'll actually be able to see the ABS sensor. And then, like I said, this just it wraps around the rear brake assembly, and then it has quite a few 10mm that connect to the lower control arm and near the brakes and stuff like that. And then it goes up and under the fuel tank, and where the fuel tank is, I just snipped this. So I snipped it all the way up there to the the body of the car. So maybe one day whenever I pull those seats out again, I can actually pull that wire through. But it's only like probably that much worth of wire hanging up there, so I'm not worried about it. Plus, you'll never see it. So anyways, I got all this out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other sensor done, and here we go, guys. We're getting this ABS done. Well, guys, I got all of the ABS sensors out, both the fronts and the rears. I installed my stainless steel braided brake lines, front and rear. These are Goodrich stainless steel braided brake lines. And I actually just weighed all these sensors. I was curious of how much they would weigh. And altogether, it was 2.2 pounds. So yeah, a little bit of weight savings there. I mean, not much, but every little bit counts. So now I have the ABS module and wiring harness removed from inside the car. I have all the ABS lines. So that leaves me the hardware inside the engine bay.